Hello, 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 hello. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 9th Annual Legal Excellence Awards, the 4th here at the Gem Theatre, which does an amazing job. I see my Scarphone and Geen people up there, always up in the top ropes. Okay. I got to do a couple recognitions first before I turn it over to our MC. Stephen Made, the chair of the Legal Excellence Awards, as well as Brandon Schumacher, Renee Townsend, made this night possible. So thank you very much. And it goes without saying that people like Tara and Madeline, I see you up there trying to hide. Nothing would be possible without people like them, who are amazing, amazing people. Jim Gross, I see you there. There's my guy. That's my guy, Jimmy G in the footnotes. First time I ever had a good suggestion for an appellate brief, he's like, yeah, that'd be a good footnote, John. He's the best. He's the best. Also, LCS, Nate, he's always a great sponsor of the MDTC. Thank you very much, Nate. Banner sponsors, Collins Einhorn, Farrell, PC. Kitch, Mr. Kitch can't be here tonight, but we got somebody in his stead. Dada, Mann, Mulcahy, and Sadler. Anwas, where's Jack or John? What's your name these days? There you are. That's my guy right there. All right. Foley, Barron, Metzger, and Jouet, PLLC. Did I get that? Jouet? Oh, white. It's Swedish. Oh, okay. I'm just kidding. Okay. Okay. My bad. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. By the way. Smith, Howie, Rice, and Rogue, BC, obviously. Event sponsors, more or less the same. Exponent, I saw Don Parker here. Where are you at? He's a big fan of the MDTC. Great guy as well. Foster Swift, Garrett Lukow, Houston. Where's Mike Jollett? I always got to give a shout out to Mike Jollett. He paved the way for people like me to get impeached in positions like this. It's great. Thank you very much. Sean Lewis, you're next, buddy. Don't try to shy away, man. Okay. McDonald, Bass, and Livingston. Where's Fred? I got to say one thing about Mr. Fred Livingston. He's probably the best thing I've done for the MDTC. I brought him in to clean up the mess that we're going to make tonight, and you know what I've done. Thank you, Fred. Scarphone and Geen, again, my people up there. All right. We're going to recognize the judges and justices in attendance tonight because, let's be honest, we all love them on the defense side. If you could all stand up, we're going to applaud at one time as I read your name, okay? Honorable Thomas Cameron, Michigan Court of Appeals. Honorable Edward Ewell, Third Circuit. Kathleen Galen, 38th District Court. Judge Gotti, I know where you are. I saw you earlier. Okay, 16th. Judge Mattis, Oakland County. You denied one of my motions the other day, but it's fine. You granted it like 2 weeks ago. Okay. And Honorable Margaret, say it, Van Houten? Houghton. 2 names, so powerful. Give it up for her. All right. And obviously retired Justice David Viviano. We all love you. One of the man of the night, Justice Brian Zara. We love your dissent. For you. And, right. And, all right. So board of directors. Oh, how dare I? Judge Ramsey, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Board of Directors, Jala, you've been overdone. Regina Berlin, Sarah Cherry, Sean Lewis, Steve Made. Past presidents here, Mr. Jose Brown, I saw you earlier, and Excellence in Defense. Look at you trying to hide over there. Get up. Good for you. And Lawrence Donaldson, John Mucha, who's where is he, oh, yeah, he's trying to be a Scarphone and Geen. Listen, I can't offer you as much as your current firm does, but it's the work-life balance. Let us know. All right, and without further ado, our host for the night, Mr. Charlie Langton. Everybody loves him.
Oh, nice. All right, let's right there. I think we got it. How's everybody tonight? I know. Opening act was very good. This is I always love doing this because I get to see all the defense attorneys. I kind of practiced some plaintiff work when I was practicing, but this is all good. Good camaraderie, good fun, and the bar is open. Anyway, let's start off with the award. That's why we're here. Let's start off with a very prestigious award, the Judicial Award of Excellence. The MDTC Judicial Award of Excellence, presented annually to commend one or more state or federal judges for their service to and on behalf of the state civil bar, the legal profession, and the public. All right, so many people. Do we have a video of, are we going to play a video, or are we going to play, how do we want to do this? We have a video, I think. Play the video? It's not a contest. Oh, look at this. This is nice. This is very nice. You know what, though? Let's talk, though, that where's Justice Viviano? He was here earlier, and he had to leave. Good thing, because he writes about his colleague on the Michigan Supreme Court, Justice Zara, the recipient of the award, has become something of an anomaly. He's the only remaining member of the Michigan Supreme Court who served as a trial judge and who brings that important perspective to the court. He's always stood for the rule of law. A lot of people say that. And he was proud to stand with them during the service together on the court. Justice Viviano. Justice Elizabeth Clement, she writes that Justice Brian Zara, more than a colleague, he's a friend, an endless source of insights, an occasional groan-worthy joke. I think that's right. Groan-worthy joke. Don't really know what that means, but that's what she writes. She congratulates Brian, she says, on a well-deserved honor, and she thanks his family for allowing the Supreme Court to borrow him for so many years, although she suspects that the family may want him back at some point. Justice Clement. And finally, Rick Jopich. I hope I pronounced that correctly. In addition to being a great person in all respects, he's demonstrated integrity on upholding the rule of law as Justice of the Supreme Court and sets the bar very high for all to strive for and live by. Thank you, Justice Zara. Nice. Let's see this. Let's see the video. There's no video. I thought there was, what? I thought there was a video. Next year. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome the recipient of the Judicial Award of Excellence, Justice Brian Zara.
Well, thank you. When John called me to tell me I would be getting the award, he says, there's one catch. Your acceptance remarks must be shorter than your dissents. I said, that won't be a problem. I greatly appreciate this award, and I thank the MDTC Selection Committee, the Executive Board, President Homeyer, for taking the time to read my dissents. I appreciate that.
I use them all the time in motions.
They're getting denied. 30 years ago, when I entered the world of public service, I pledged to myself that I would I made a pledge to myself that I'd like to share with you tonight. First, I pledged to commit myself to the principle that, now, rule of law, here it is, equal justice under law. And equal justice under law can only be achieved when judges limit their interpretation of statutes and constitutions to the provisions of the intent of the lawmakers. That is, looking at the words that they use to make up the law. Simply put, my job is to say what the law is, not what I believe the law should be. Second, I vowed never to forget what it was like to practice law, to stand in court and try a case, or to be on a motion or an evidentiary hearing, or to do an appellate argument. At all times, I viewed the administration of justice to be a collaborative effort between bench and bar. No judge can be successful without working diligently and respectfully with the lawyers presenting the case to you. To all you practitioners, thank you for your invaluable contribution to the Michigan justice system. Over the course of my career, I have had the pleasure of working with over 30 law clerks. One is here tonight, Margaret Van Houten. She's actually a circuit court judge. Margie, to you and all the other law clerks, thank you for your service, and thank you for making me look much better than I deserve to. Finally, and most important, I want to recognize and thank my life partner and counselor and bride of more than 25 years, Suzanne Casey. They say behind every good man is a great woman rolling her eyes. And believe me, I've given her plenty of reason to roll her eyes. But she's always been incredibly supportive. She's been my confidant. When politics is a blood sport, and especially judicial politics, and most of the time it didn't impact me. A couple times I got a flesh wound in there. She stood me up, and she always assured me I was doing the right thing for the right reasons. Thank you.
Justice Brian Czar, everybody. Yes, you can stand. Sure, why not? All right, thank you. All right, the next award, the Young Lawyers Golden Gavel Award. This award, established back in 2005, the Golden Gavel Award, presented annually to a member of the MDTC's Young Lawyers section who exemplifies significant contribution to professionalism and courtesy in the practice of law, and by promoting the image and honorable reputation of the profession. Now, one of the people that submitted an application, Carrie Melkonian, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Is she here tonight? Aha. She writes about the recipient, Laura Alton. My practice consists of the types of cases you read about in torts class, but don't think actually happen in real life. Turns out they do. And Laura is the first person I turn to for assistance. At any given moment, Laura's plate is more than full. Nonetheless, she steps up to assist my partners and me when duty calls. Laura is also a leader and a mentor. In fact, she trains and teaches her fellow associates, some of whom with more years in practice, and provides key updates on the law to the entire firm. Laura, wise beyond her years, I would certainly be lost without her. Very nice. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's recipient of the Young Lawyers Golden Gavel Award, Laura Alton.
There's a requirement that you have to be a member for at least a year after you win the Golden Gavel, Carrie. Don't think about bringing her to fire.
Good evening, everyone. I am truly honored to receive the Golden Gavel Award this year. It is a humbling experience to be recognized among such esteemed professionals in our field. First and foremost, as Snoop Dogg would say, I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for this hard work. No, but I truly want to thank the MDTC for this recognition. I don't know who paid them, but I appreciate it. Thanks, Carrie. And I also want to express my gratitude to the individuals from Collins that came out today. And I also want to thank my mentors, who I wouldn't be here without them, especially Kevin Maloney, who oddly enough has a lot of trust and supports me, that I was honored to first chair my first trial in November of this past year. Let's just say plaintiff settled for nuisance value before I even finished the redirect. I also want to thank Carrie Melkonian, who has taken me under her wing, even though she is no longer at Collins, unfortunately. She has taken me under her wing, and I'm not only a shadow of her shadow at Bar Association events, but I am lucky to say that within 6 months of being at Collins, we tried a case successfully that we like to call the poopy towel trial. And I also want to thank Kyle Smith. He is not only an example of a great person, but also a great attorney, and has helped me throughout my spiritual journey. So I thank you for that. And last but not least, I want to thank my family who continues to inspire and support me in every way possible. This award is a symbol of dedication, hard work, and a lot of billable hours. However, this award is not just for me. It is a testament to the support and impact of mentors have on young attorneys in this profession. If there are any young attorneys in this room tonight, I encourage you to find a mentor who will support you and guide you. But please find your own, because I keep mine preoccupied. Once again, thank you again for this incredible recognition.
A big hand now. Laura, thank you. Congratulations. The next award is the award for Excellence in Defense. The Excellence in Defense Award, there are 2 recipients tonight. This award was established back in 1992. It is designed to honor those civil defense counsel who have over a number of years, through their professionalism, intelligence, creativity, judgment, personality, sensitivity, civility, advocacy skills, community involvement, and efforts to educate younger attorneys, promote the practice of law. 2 recipients tonight. First, Marcy Matson. All right. Michael Severn. Is Michael Severn here tonight by any chance? He writes, in getting this nomination, in this complex world of defending medical malpractice claims, few shine as brightly as defense attorney Marcy Matson. Marcy's dedication and commitment to defending good medicine and protecting the interests of healthcare providers is second to none. Sandra Lake. She writes, the best example I can give of Marcy's excellent advocacy skills occurred in a recent medical malpractice case. The plaintiff's counsel was some guy named Jeffrey Feiger. The case was in Kalamazoo. It involved the death of a 2-year-old girl. And although the circumstances surrounding this matter were heartbreaking, Marcy did an outstanding job of teaching the jury about the very complex medical issues involved and why the case was appropriate. By the way, they won that case. And then finally, a client, Keith Respond, he says, beyond medical defense, Marcy has been the go-to for handling all kinds of unique situations and coverage issues, etc. And let's get one more. A client, Dr. James DeMoss. He says, her attention to detail in our case is unmatched. It is a privilege to work with Marcy Matson. Ladies and gentlemen, the Excellence in Defense Award for this year, Marcy Matson.
I should hang out here more often. I sound better by the day. I would like to thank MDTC, John, the selection committee. If any of you see Kevin Lesperance around, I want you to tell him he is a very sneaky guy, because no one was more surprised than me by this award.
You wouldn't even call me back.
Didn't know. I'm like, John, why are you calling me? So I did eventually call him back. When I thought about this, the adjective that most came to mind was humbled. As I look around and I see Jose, who I just learned tonight, Jose, you invented this award, so thank you. That's not what I heard. He's a winner, Ralph Balatuti. I look around at all of these people, the former winners, the people in this room that I work with, and I am truly humbled. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me. I want to thank my son, Tyler, who made it here tonight. When I heard that I had to give a speech, Tyler helped me try to do that whole ChatGPT thing, because I was going to, fake it a little bit. Unfortunately, ChatGPT gave us some story about a dog who somehow mistakenly wrote a prescription to a dog instead of a patient. I don't know. It was very confusing. So we dropped that entirely. But Tyler, I want to thank you for being here. And anyone who knows me knows that I want to thank my husband, Brian. He is the foundation. I don't do what I do if he doesn't do what he does. And by that, I mean he cooks, so we don't starve. And I love him for it. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. We have 2 house rules, and Justice Zara, you'll be happy to know that not only do we get to set the rules, we get to decide not only what the law should be, but what the law is. So we don't have the limitations that you have, which is great. We have 2 house rules, though. No lazy kids, no mean kids. Because if you're not lazy and you're not mean, you're going to go far in life. And I was very fortunate to come across Tom, who puts the hall in Hull-Matson. And Tom and I have that same philosophy for our firm. No lazy kids, no mean kids, and as long as you can do that, you're going to be a success. So I thank you, Tom. And they say that if you don't put the team in teamwork, it's just work, and that's no fun. Nobody wants that. So I am very appreciative for my team, both my personal team, Lynn, Allison, Jan, I know you're here somewhere. I see 2 of you back there. Allie, I'm sure you're sitting with somebody that you already knew, probably, right? Because Allie knows everybody. Justice Viviano left, but she told me they have good stories, so I'd be curious to see those later. And my work team, all of whom are here. They took the party bus here, so I was very appreciative. I want to give a special shout out to Sandy Lake, without whom I'm not here because she makes me look smart. And she put together the 80s playlist for our party bus, so that's why we're all smiling. All the Hull-Matson team is smiling today. So I want to thank my team because I have the very best there is. Marcia, wherever you are, I had a hearing today, which is why we were sort of late to this, and the plaintiff's attorney said, oh, that Marcia, she's tough. I said, yep, that's right. I got the best there is. I also told them that unless I drop dead tonight, they can't have you. So, but as I look at this award, and I thought about this award. I mean, you look to the past, right? I look to my past mentors, Brett Bean, amazing mentor to me, Jose, Ralph, all the people that I've learned from over the years. But I also look to the future, and it is my privilege tonight to make an announcement. For the first time anywhere, effective April 1st, we are going to be known as Hull-Matson, Garver, and Thomas. It is my pleasure to announce that Susan Garver and Matt Thomas are joining us, and that's going to be the future of our firm, and I couldn't be prouder or happier to take on 2 such amazing, excellent partners. So thank you, guys. We're so excited to have you on board. And last, and I know you're ready for me to, this is probably past my 2 to 3 minutes, but last but not least, maybe least, I'm not sure, I want to thank the NCAA for not scheduling the Michigan or the Michigan State game during this ceremony. Thank you all very much.
Marcy Matson, everyone. The other award in excellence in defense, Richard Kitch. Many of us know him in this room, and a lot of people nominated him. I'm going to read a couple of them right now. First of all, Richard Joppich talks about Richard Kitch being a very humble man. He's been a mentor, an educator, a policy driver, tort reform legislation drafter, and highly successful trial advocate in hundreds of trials over his career. His entire life as an attorney has been dedicated to the advancement of the defense bar, its attorneys, his own firm, which remains founded on defense litigation. While he no longer actively is practicing, he continues to keep his hands in the defense world. Also, John Sear, he says, Mr. Kitch's willingness to share his experiences and stories of the courtroom enabled subsequent generations of lawyers to enter trial practice knowing that they had practical resources available. There weren't many issues or events that occurred during a trial that Mr. Kitch had not encountered. And sometimes it feels better not to be the first. David Ottenweiss, he writes, I owe a great deal of my success to the example set by Dick's firm all these years. And while his firm has diversified its practice much more than when I was a pup, his words, I still have a comforting feeling when a Kitch attorney shows up on one of my files because I know that the attorney knows what he or she is doing. And finally, Rick Whitmer, he works in Chicago, and he says, even though I was only an associate and working in a remote location, Mr. Kitch spent considerable time getting to know us both and exploring topics ranging from the Chicago restaurant scene to the local Cook County rules of procedure that helped inspire such litigation-friendly environment. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Kitch is unable to be here with us tonight. We wish him the best in his recovery, but accepting the award on his behalf, his good friend, Ron Wagner. Ron?
Good evening, everybody. I'm not so sure that I'll be able to deliver the types of comments that Mr. Kitch deserves, but I'll do my best. It certainly is an honor for me to have the opportunity to accept this award on behalf of Mr. Kitch, someone that I've been with for 50 years in the firm. I know that Greg Drutchess is here, and he's been with the firm for, I think, 53, and Ralph is almost 50 years. And we've had a lot of opportunity to work with a real legend and to learn from a legend and to do the best that we can in our own individual practices. I asked Mr. Kitch if he wanted me to say anything special on his behalf, and this is the response that I got. It says, thanks for going back in the archives and your dogged perseverance in finding me. And that's kind of a clever wit that Mr. Kitch always has, and still has, thank goodness. There are a lot of memorable events that we can all speak of from the firms. I just want to share a few with you, and some of them were covered in what Charlie Langton had to say. But as a young and beginning attorney in the 70s, and there's probably a lot of you here that don't even remember what the 70s were like downtown, but the RenCen wasn't there, and the Southfield Development Town Center wasn't there, and there was a lot of buzz of attorneys in what was called the financial district. And we would run into attorneys when we were walking the streets, and inevitably when we were with Mr. Kitch, someone would want to have to stop and talk to him and say something about a case they were working on or a case that he had finished. And as a young lawyer in a firm which was only about 10 or 12 attorneys at the time, often we would get together and go to lunch in some of the fine dining spots like the Veterans Administration Building, if any of you know where that is. They had a restaurant in the downstairs, which I think they probably delivered food that nobody else wanted on some days. But often Mr. Kitch would come with us, and when I look back on my career, that was some of the highlights, is to be able to sit with the attorneys around the table, 7 or 8 of us, and discuss the cases that we had, the witnesses that we've encountered, the judges, some of the rulings, some of the law. And to have Dick there always offering suggestions and comments in a very, not in a condescending manner, but in a very friendly and a collegial manner. And it was just, it was almost like a seminar to gather the types of information and knowledge and experience that he had and was sharing it with us. As a matter of fact, we learned those, the rules and some of the things that he taught us so well. One of the news articles that was published not too long after I joined the firm, we were classified as the Kitch attack puppies whenever we showed up in court. One of his great partner, Dick Heinrich, when asked about Dick Kitch and his many years that he practiced with him, beginning at the law firm of Mull Desenberg before they started the Kitch firm in 1969, commented that, he says, it always struck me about Dick was that he knew everything about the law, whether it was his specialty or not. He had a unique ability to problem solve and to educate himself on a topic very quickly. And whenever he tried a case, he would always confer with Dick and say, you know, what do you think about my strategy on this case? And whenever he got the thumbs up, he said, I always felt much better going into trying that case. Now, there was a comment in the introduction about the tort reform, and, you know, one of the things that, looking back in history, that probably many of you really don't appreciate, and some of you do, is that in the 1980s and early 90s, there was literally a malpractice crisis in terms of hospitals and healthcare providers could not get insurance. You know, the insurance companies just evaporated out of Michigan because the law was so against the healthcare providers, and the cost of insurance was such that they could never really grasp what their risk was, because the law as it was provided for a pretty extended period of time for the statute of limitations in which plaintiffs to file lawsuits. And so the insurance companies could never really get a grasp of what their risk was in order to set rates. And whenever they tried to set rates, inevitably they found out they were losing their shirts. So Mr. Kitch was very instrumental in putting together with the Hospital Association, Michigan Hospital Association, and working with hospitals and their administrators to discuss how can we solve this crisis. And then at the same time, how can we come up with tort reform that's going to be fair to everybody and be on a level playing field so that insurance companies will be able to predict what losses might be, and the defense will have a much better opportunity to win cases. So from that, you know, the statute of limitations evolved into something that was more fair for both sides. The requirements that an expert witness must have meet certain standards in order to provide testimony. The concept of the law on non-economic damages were all in very important points that made our practice of law now, certainly in the malpractice field and some of you in the products liability, something that we can now argue about and come up with a better argument and perhaps have a better chance of winning trials, which I think has proven that we do have. I wanted to share with you just a couple of things that Mr. Kitch had by way of some trials in his experience. One of them, he was trying a malpractice case early on, and plaintiffs had his expert witness on the stand, and he made the fatal question of asking his witness if he knew Mr. Kitch. And he said, sure, I know Mr. Kitch. He asked me to review this case, and I told him he didn't have a defense. So Mr. Kitch, as he recounts, he said, I went to the judge and said, you know, I know there are some rules that prohibit acting attorneys from being a witness in the lawsuit in the case that they're trying, but I think it's important that I have this opportunity to explain it. And the judge said, sure, go ahead, over plaintiff's objections, I might add. So once he took the stand, the plaintiff's attorney, the judge said, well, do you want to ask him any questions? And the plaintiff's attorney said, no, just let him go ahead and say what he's going to say. So here's how Mr. Kitch recounts what happened. He asked the question, what's your name? And he responded, Richard A. Kitch. He asked, what's your profession? He said, well, I'm an attorney. He asked, well, do you know Dr. X? And he said, well, yes, I certainly do. And he said, well, then how do you know him? And Mr. Kitch, answering his own question, said, he makes his living testifying in the courtroom for a fee. Question, do you believe he's qualified to give an expert opinion in this case? Answer by Mr. Kitch, truthfully, he's not qualified to testify in any subject in the field of medicine. And to that, Mr. Kitch describes that the jury kind of broke out laughing. The plaintiff's attorney made an objection, and the judge said, well, I gave you the opportunity if you wanted to say anything, and you waived it and said he could just go ahead and say what he wanted. You know, Dick has tried many cases and has obviously been very, very successful. But there was a time when he did try some plaintiff's cases. And as a matter of fact, I learned that at one time, he had the largest plaintiff's verdict in the state of Michigan. And at another time, he had the largest settlement, $1 million settlement on a case he was representing a plaintiff. And he says to this day that he has a photocopy of that check, just so he can prove it to anybody that it really happened. But one of the cases that he talked about that I think you might find of interest is that a plastic surgeon had called him and said, you know, I just treated a woman who was in a terrible automobile accident, and she's got these severe injuries on her face, and she wanted to speak to a lawyer, so I gave her your name. And so she called, and he says that, well, after looking at the photographs, and they were pretty gruesome of her severity of her injuries, he agreed to take her case. And of course, Wayne County at that time, although it's more efficient now, back at the time of this trial, it may take several years to get a case up for trial. And during that time, she had moved to Ohio. Well, they finally got a trial date, so he called her up and he made arrangements for her to come to Detroit to meet and to prepare for the trial. And she was on board with everything. And she said, you know, I don't know if it makes any difference or not, but I just think you should know that last week I was voted Mrs. Ohio in a beauty pageant. He said the gruesome pictures suddenly lost a lot of value in the case, and it was resolved rather quickly. So, you know, on behalf of those from all the Kitch firm who were there tonight and supporting Dick, and it's too bad that he wasn't here to accept this award personally and to share a lot of his experiences with you in that regard. You know, I feel very fortunate to have an opportunity to practice with Dick for many years, and I'm sure that all of us in the firm who have been there and know him as the gentleman that he is, and always willing to help, and always having an open door to all of us, can be very happy in that regard. And certainly from the years of working with him and what I've known, he certainly is a true legend in the field of defense. So, Mr. Kitch, a well-deserved award. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I close my case.
I'm not going to hold anybody up.
When I give this to him, I'll be sure to stand up and applaud, just like all of you did.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We got events coming up. Check the website. Steve Mate, he's up there to answer any questions. Kyle, you're not allowed here anymore. You changed sides. Carrie, you're next. Seriously, though, thank you, everybody, for coming. This is one of our premier events, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you very much. Fred Livingston, everybody, next president.